Hello everybody, welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing a Willy's Jeep build. I've always liked the Willy's Jeep. You know, it dates back to the 1940s when they started using them for World War II, and they became one of the most reliable vehicles in the United States military. So why don't we head on down to the range and let's see what I come up with. You know, I always try to find these if I can. I'm always out for looking for them because I really like these style Jeeps. I've done previous Jeep builds before, but I wanted to go something a little more clean cut, a little bit of style behind it, and some off-road look. And no, it's not going to be just a regular wheel swap and, you know, that's it. Nah, that's not how we do it here at Caliber 50 Customs. You know, this is my video back, my first video back after a while of taking a little bit of time, going over some health issues and trying to figure out some personal stuff going on along the way. But what I wanted to do with this is I wanted to extend the back out. So what I did was I cut out a little bit of the little diecast that was in the back in order to get it to where I cut off the rest of it, because I didn't want to have to cut through, you know, so much of the body that I didn't want it to actually kind of look all crappy. So I ended up, instead of using a back of a pickup truck I was going to use, I decided to make my own. And because it gave me a little bit of an idea, so I took some styrene, drew a template, and then did two of the same size. And, you know, all in all, like, the customization of this thing was, you know, new. Some of it was new to me, some of it wasn't. I tried some different things that they ended up working out, so I was really happy with this. I didn't reuse the base on this casting because it just wouldn't work for what I was trying to go with. But, you know, I was really happy with the way everything came out, and, you know, I wanted my first video back to be a really good one. So that's kind of why I decided to go straight up custom parts. You know, I ended up making the base out of styrene. I made the back half out of styrene. And, you know, I found some parts from these Just trucks that I ended up using for it. And they were those Humvees, so, you know, it kind of helped out a little bit because I like Humvees. But, you know, the hardest part was making sure I could get everything aligned, everything squared off, you know, perfect the way I was wanting it. There's a lot of footage that's not in this video due to the fact that, you know, it just would have looked ridiculous, and I didn't want to make it an extremely long video. Got my air compressor back up and going. I think I just had a clogged airbrush because it wasn't working right, so I really thoroughly cleaned it out, scraped out all the gunk and the extra paint that was in there. And, you know, I went with my favorite green for this, and I went with like a dark aluminum base and stuff like that. I'm telling you guys the colors now because you won't really see any of me painting in this video. I did all that off camera like I've been doing, and I just kind of trying to do, like, I got this new camera set up, so I'm trying to work with like the best angle. Honestly, I think my best angle is like right above the top because you can see more of what I'm doing. You can get the idea of what I'm doing instead of doing it at this diagonal kind of view. But all in all, I really enjoyed doing this build. I love doing Jeep builds. I love doing, you know, any kind of off-roading 4x4. And here's the base, or the back of the Jeep that I was working with. And here's those stacks I was telling you about that I got from Humvee. And I ended up kind of trimming them up, you know, and using them for side stacks for, like, the truck. Yeah. But the hardest part was trying to get them to match up on both sides. You know, one of them kind of was reversed, so I kind of had to redo that one. I filed down where the shovel and stuff was at. I dremeled that down, tried to get it as smooth as I could. I really wanted this thing to kind of look like it was one piece altogether, and I think in the final results, when you guys get to that, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because it looks really, really good. It looks like everything matched up perfectly. I ended up doing a little bit different. I went with a fifth wheel on this, and you guys will see here in a little bit how I did that. And what I'm doing right here is I'm kind of making my own base, because I wanted it to set up a different way. I wanted it to, you know, do something. And plus, you know, the ideas I was going to do with the actual original base was not going to work with this project. So that's why I decided to make my own base to this Jeep. I love these Jeeps. Trust me, I will never turn down a Jeep. You know, I've been doing what I can, trying to get back into the videos after being like not doing them for so long. So I'm trying to go above and beyond of what I normally do. I got this, my next build is going to be a really wicked kind of hauler style build, I guess. I don't know exactly what all I'm going to do to it yet, but I found these castings at Walmart. I thought they were really cool. You know, I've never had one of these castings, and you'll see in my next video what I'm going to be doing. Don't know when it's going to be out yet, but I wanted to get this one out to show you guys that I still got it. I'm still doing my thing, you know, trying to impress you guys by one-upping what I do. And you know, I thought about going like kind of like a Wastelands build for my next build, but I'm kind of up in the air about exactly what all I want to do just yet. Because it's a really cool casting. I ended up getting 2 of them, so I could customize one and leave one in the package, because I plan on getting the entire set. It's a Jurassic World set for the new movie Dominion coming up, so I'm wanting to get that little set built up. And, you know, I've kind of been going on and off trying to just see what all I can do and what kind of builds I'm going to be doing. And I apologize for not being able to see my 4 Horsemen build. Like I said, things were just kind of not in the right area, and I had to take a break. And I really didn't get it done yet, but when I get it done, I'll post it up. Hopefully it's not too late for the recap video. By the time I get it done, I'm still kind of in the process of working with it, and so far so good. I just gotta like go over the paint and just see what all I gotta still do a little bit of the base modifications and stuff like that to it. But I'm not gonna really talk about what I'm doing in the video, because you guys can kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm making a base, putting the back on the back, you know, the whole 9 yards. And it starts getting more and more, because like I couldn't figure out how I was going to do the base for the back half of it, because I was kind of still up in the air, like, what am I going to do? So this brush guard actually came off of one of those Humvees I was telling you about. So I took another one that I had, and I trimmed it down to size to make it to where it'll fit around the front of this Jeep thing. And you know, you see the difference and see how much I cut off of them. And you know, it kind of, once it's painted, it actually looks 10 times better, and it really looks good on this Jeep. And I think I picked it perfectly, you know, modified it and all that stuff, just perfect. And the hardest part was trying to figure out where I was going to mount it so it was, I guess, where it needed to be for it to look decent on the Jeep. And you know, being my first video back, I wanted to do a little more in detail, like with my customization parts and, you know, how I did certain things. But it actually took me a lot longer than I was expecting to do this. Normally, I would have probably knocked this out in a day or two, but I've been kind of spanning it out, figuring out how I'm going to do this. For those who are on my Instagram, you guys see my Instagram post of, Cole over at Kudos Diecast Customs. He made me the little thumbnail that I used, and I wanted to use that, just kind of give you guys an idea what my next video is. You guys see here that I made some, mods the back, the whole fifth wheel, and, making the, the bars and stuff for the headlight rack and stuff like that. And then, like I said, I wanted to give it the off-road look, but a cool, nice little, setup with it. And all in all, I think I hit the nail on the head and nailed that target really, really good. And I got a bunch of just castings just laid around. You see up there at the corner, the Jeep 4-horseman build, and then I got my 55 Chevy sitting over there, and I got a cop car, But going off-road was the easy part for this thing, but making it have a cool looking suspension, or it doesn't bounce up and down or nothing. It rolls really good. I was really happy with how it rolls. And I wanted to make sure that I got the base to where it fit, so I did a lot of sanding. I mean, a lot. And just having it to where, everything was smooth, so when I went over to paint it, everything looked fine. All in all, I got to do a few more touch-up pieces onto the casting, so everything will go well. I'm going to kind of, I guess I'll tape off or something. I don't know yet. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But at this time, I'm still kind of in my head. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do the back of the base. Like, how am I going to make it to where it'll sit down and everything will be fine and level, and go from there. So I'm kind of throwing some ideas up in my head, like how I'm going to do it, where I'm going to put it, how it's going to look, and all in all, it's starting to look really cool already, in the phases of that. And I had some, axle tubing. I ended up using that. I got to go get more because I'm plumb out right now. So I was lucky enough to get this build done with the axle tubes that I ended up using. So I was kind of animate about how things are going to run, because I'm going in my head and I'm like, well, how am I going to make the back of this level, and I want to make it roll right. And I started just getting some ideas, watching old YouTube videos that I've seen people do custom styrene pieces, and I started going over that, looking at that, and checking that out, and seeing how it was going to go. And all in all, I thought it was really, really cool how, everything turned out. And one of my builds, I'm going to actually be making a custom chassis from scratch, from styrene. Whatever I got to do, I'm going to cut it up to where it needs to be and make it look good. And I want it to, look like a custom chassis. I want it to, kind of put little springs on it if I can, little ways to make it look like it's got, some kind of springy suspension. And that's something that's going to be later on that I'm going to try to figure out. Because, like I said, at this time, I really haven't quite figured out how it's going to go. Because I just got so many ideas of how I can do it in my head. And, I'm trying to make sure that it'll attach to the base and it'll look decent. So what I did was I decided to drill 2 holes for an axle tube. And, I put them together, and what I did was I drew around them and cut it out, spiraled it down, sanded it down, the whole 9 yards, trying to get it lined up and perfect the way I was wanting. Yeah, I had to do a lot of trimming, a lot of filing, a lot of sanding, just to get it right where I wanted it. And it took a little bit of trial and error, but I finally ended up getting into the swing of it and just seeing how I was going to do it. And I was actually really happy about how it was going to turn out. Excuse me. But, I wanted to get the base laid down first before everything worked out, and you see here that I finally got it figured out. I finally got it to where I wanted to do it. It's gonna look decent. It's got these really cool wheels from Sam Ed Wheels that I picked out, and I was really stoked about it, and I couldn't wait to get it together. But this is what we started off with, a 1941-ish Willy's Jeep. I love this Jeep. I hope you guys love this video as much as I did, and I'm glad to be back making these videos, and I hope to keep seeing you subscribe, like, the whole 9 yards. But without further ado, let's check out the final results.
In my domain, got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane, it's over before you know it. While you're shaking, we're a